In this video, I'm going to cover how to work out the turnover time. A turnover time is the amount of time that it takes your pool volume to go round the entire system. So if you had in there, for example, 420 meters cubed of water, how long would it actually take for 420 cubic meters to come out of the pool, through the circulation pumps, through the filters, through the UV system, through the heating, and back to the pool? That's called a turnover time, and it's important to know what the turnover time, so you can record that information into the normal operating procedures. And the way that you work it out is you need two pieces of information. The first piece of information you need is the volume of the pool, and the other piece of information is what's called the flow rate, which is the amount, it's the speed basically at which water is moving. So you need the volume and the speed at which water is moving. So how do you work these out? Well, volume is fairly straightforward. In most cases, you multiply the dimensions of the pool together. So if you've got a length of 25 meters, a width of 12 meters, and an average depth of 1.4 meters, which you work out by basically taking the shallow end depth, adding it to the deep end depth, and then dividing by 2. So it would work out as 25 meters multiplied by 12 meters multiplied by 1.4 meters would give you a volume of 420. So let's put 420 in there. So 420 meters cubed. Okay, flow rate, you don't work out the flow rate, you look at what's called we look at basically the flow rate meter in the plant room. This is a flow rate meter, and it'll tell you what the flow rate is. It might be a bit small to see, but you can, that's basically reading out what the flow rate is. This is the actual flow rate meter itself, and then you're getting the information there. In smaller pools, it might look more like that. So that's mounted on pipe work. So you'll have pipe work through which water is traveling, and you'll be able to read off what the flow rate is. On this particular one, it's giving the flow rate in gallons per minute and liters per minute, but you can easily convert that into meters cubed. Nowadays, most people work in meters cubed, and you'll find the flow rate, if you do have a flow rate meter on the system, somewhere between the circulation pumps and the filtration system. So on this schematic that you can see, the flow rate meter is there. So you read off the flow rate, and you put the information. Let's imagine that we've got a flow rate of 150. So let's have a volume of 420 meters cubed and a flow rate of 150 cubic meters per hour. So what you'd be able to do now is work out your turnover time by simply dividing those two together. So let's do 420 That's your volume divided by 150 cubic meters per hour would give us a flow rate, a turnover time, sorry, of 2.8 hours. So turnover is 2.8 hours, which is about right for a pool of that size. The smaller the pool is, the quicker the turnover time needs to be. Like, for example, you couldn't have, or you wouldn't want to have a spa pool or a small teaching pool with a turnover time that long, because the water is just spending longer in the tank, of which the tank being the pool itself. It's the water's becoming more towards stagnant the slower the turnover is. What you want to do is hurry up basically and get that water out of the pool and through the system where it can be filtered and chemically treated. But the bigger the pool is, you can have a longer turnover period, because the water is not going to be as polluted, because the amount of water itself will help to keep pollution levels under control. But you don't want it too quick either, because if it's too quick, then the water will be traveling too quickly through the filtration system. So it's a bit of a balance to get the flow correct, the flow rate correct, to give the required turnover time for at your particular type of pool. It should have been worked out at the design and build stage, but sometimes design errors are made and you can end up with a system that isn't giving you the turnover time that you require or that you'd ideally like. In any event, what you need to do, or what needs to happen, is the turnover time, flow rate and the volume all need to be recorded in the facility's normal operating procedures.